Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Season 11. We're here with Round 1. It's a brand new day for the Sim Racing Alliance. It's going to be a little bit more punishing out here during qualifying.
It's definitely a hard one here. It's what it's like. It's very, very punishing.
For all the way in Germany, this will be the first time we see this in the team series here. This is a track where you will be driving the track, not as much driving the drivers on the track.
Very brave is the Ferrari to get the move done.
He does get the position done.
Oh, huge contact, and they're both going to go around. It's going to be a huge move up the inside.
He's been using every bit of the track.
Pedal to the metal, foot to the floor.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SR Nation. It is me, Alexander Giordano, with week 6 of the action here in the team series. We are racing at Zandvoort this evening. If the conditions are the same as they were yesterday, it's going to be blistering race temperature-wise. We'll just have to see if the conditions will be the same, but more than likely they will probably be very, very close to what they were. And speaking of the actual track, we'll go look at the track map while our drivers are getting ready for their qualifying session. So as mentioned, we are here in Zandvoort, Netherlands, on this 4.259 kilometer track, 2.647 in miles, 14 turn course. So basically, if we look at it closely here, a lot of very slow technical corners on this track. On the pitch straight, right off the bat, there's a 180 turn 1, then a very narrow and dangerous section going up to turn 2 and 3. extremely narrow, lots of dangerous curbs in that section. Then there's a small little break going up to turn 4. Still not super wide in those sectors, so there is a token, T4 that's just a small bend in that straight, but still very narrow and a lot of dangerous curbs that raise up, so definitely don't want to touch those. Going up to a fast left-hander. Up, then you go downhill to turn 7 and 8. Then you go into a very slow technical sector with a lot of camber, lots of dangerous sliding points. The track does actually wide up in this in sector 2 of the track, so more passing opportunities, but depending on the line, still quite easy to go defensive to defend. Then going into sector 3 with probably the slowest turn of the circuit, turn 11, very tight chicane there all the way, and then with a little bit of accelerating uphill into a last slow corner on 12, which brings us home. It brings us basically down to the home stretch of turn 13 and 14, which are fairly fast. That brings us back to the finish line here at Zandvoort. Already a very technical track that necessitates a lot of using as whatever small space that you have, especially on the tighter sections of the course. Now will be even harder because of the temperatures, and the tires will be giving out a lot quicker than they usually would, so have to be especially careful in these temperatures. So we are racing with our Division 6 this evening. So we'll have a quick look at the driver and team standings after 5 weeks of action here. So here we are for the driver standings. So we have JP May atop the standings. Last week it is notable that there was quite a bit of absentees that were at the top of the standings. JP May wasn't racing, Ghislaine Smith wasn't there as well. So doesn't affect, like with the drop races, the standings are kind of they don't tell the whole story, because most of these drivers here actually don't they're actually using their their bye week, their drop race with these. So if we're looking at the standings here, May, Smith, Pellerin, and Baum all in the top 10 weren't racing last week. So that will so unless they have another 0-point race, that'll probably use as their drop. So it's a little bit hard to determine exactly what's going on depending on who has the drop race and who hasn't. But definitely Rob Warren here having a second place, having had all pretty good results in the first 5 weeks. Still has his drop race. So does Mark DC and Corey Mummery. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly what happens in these next few races. I'll just show you the end of the standings as well here. Most of these racers actually didn't participate in one race, or just stopped attending the races at one point or another. And if we go to the team standings, well, we have the Bentley boys with a commanding lead in front of Lambo Carisian, and then following closely behind, we have the Apex Editors. And the rest pretty much goes as follows. I'll let you guys read through it. I mean, it is quite a hot battle for anywhere between 2nd and 8th place. Only 124 points separating that, but the Bentley boys comfortable over 200 points ahead of first. So it will take nothing short of a miracle for anyone to catch up with only 3 races to go, but anything can happen. We'll see how it goes with this evening. And yeah, so basically that's pretty much it for the drivers and the team standings. Let's go see on our end here if ever the briefing is over and people are starting to load into the race. So it'll be very interesting to see how many of the drivers actually made decent prep to ready themselves for these really harsh conditions. At the moment, we're just starting the qualifying, and we can already see here. Okay, perfect. It's already begun, so that's excellent. So let's start there and get on the track here. Qualifying has just begun. That's excellent. Okay, so let's load in here. There we go. Okay, so let's see. So first car of the bunch is Acosta here, car 923. We'll follow him for a little bit while we look at these conditions. So yeah, so as expected, a blistering 38 ambient and almost close to 50 degrees Celsius on track. Anyone that hasn't done their homework for this week, their tires will get absolutely cooked within a few laps if you're not running more than higher brake ducts to cool those tires as much as humanly possible, and also maybe running a little bit more traction control than drivers would usually run, just to prevent that unnecessary, spinning and scrubbing of the tires that can definitely add up. A few notable cars that are notorious for running through tires are definitely the Porsches. Not too many on the field. There's only 4 from what I can see here. Haven't heard anything major from any other cars, but yeah, definitely look out for that. So we have Acosta here starting his first actual lap. So here in SRA, basically how it works is that even though these are all Division 6 drivers, as you can see on the left-hand corner, we have in gray the Silver Division drivers, and we have in white the Gold Division drivers. So in between 20 and 10 minutes of the qualifying session, Silver drivers go to set their times, and then starting at 10 minutes, the Gold drivers can go out. So right now, all Silver drivers, as you can see, are on the track at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what the first laps pace-wise will look like. So right now on track, we got Acosta, we got Justin Montine, we got Corey Mummery, we have Gordon Beverly Jr., there's a mistake, we have Brian Acom, Thomas Neely, Michael Santos, Corey Colt, and Daniel Beckstead on the track at the moment. Judging by other divisions and just the slow speed, technical nature of the track, Ferraris seem to be performing quite well on this track. Lamborghini should do quite well as well. McLaren is just all around a strong car with little to no prep. Oh, we have a little slide there. That's not what you like to see. That was Thomas Neely. Okay, so we got a few laps starting to trickle in here. Okay, so we got that. I don't know how do we the times here? That's a bit annoying. So let's get someone that's on a positive delta in the meantime. So back to Thomas Acosta here, running about 5/10 faster than his best lap at the moment. not what I wanted. How do we change this? That's the cam. That's what I wanted. I'll have to figure that out so we can actually see the times and the deltas on the left-hand side. My apologies. I'll try to get that figured out for everyone in the meantime, so... And download Beck said as he crosses the line, we just see him take the pole, the provisionary pole from Mummery at the moment. Let's tune in with Justin Montine here, about halfway through his lap on a slightly positive delta thus far. Going through the turns here, hugging the curb, using all the track, very nice. Go, hug the inside curb there. Gonna get a little bit more in the exterior, but that's fine. Hugging the left here before going on the double right-hander to finish the track. We're looking at about a 4/10 amelioration on his best lap thus far. Just cemented himself in third still. Got Beverly Jr. here just going around the last bend, about a 3/10 up on his current time. Just puts him into fifth right in front of Santos. Call just passing the line as well, getting him a fourth place, a provisionally fourth place in the meantime. I'll try to find a way to change these times real quick so we can actually see the times on the left-hand side. We got Beverly Jr. here about 7/10 up on his best time. Watching him finish sector 2, going into sector 3. There we go. That's what we wanted here. There we go. So we can see it. We can actually see the lap times now. That's fantastic. So the silver drivers here going into their last, probably their last laps, unless someone can get over the line within the next seconds. The ACOM and car 999 might get one extra lap here. Got a small little oopsie there. Okay, who's on a positive delta? Santos is actually going about 6/10 up on his time right now. So if he is able to get those 6/10 of a second, or gets better, he'll slide into 5th place in front of Beverly Jr. Very good exits on those turns. Now almost a full second up on his delta. You could even be eyeing maybe even 4th or 3rd if he can keep the pace up. Keep slicing a little bit of time on this lap. coming on the 2 final turns of the course at the moment. Still looking steady, about a second and 2/10 up. Going into the final straight. Let's see where this lands him. It'll be close for 3rd or 4th. Oh, and 52 hundredths of a second back. Then we got a whole train of cars coming in, and these will be the last, as I mentioned earlier, ACOM here will be the last silver driver to go, and we have our gold drivers coming out of the pits to start their own off lap, to start their qualifying session. So ACOM about equal on his last lap, so won't look to go get much time on this one. Not, if no time at all, not at all. Okay, so leading the train of the gold drivers, car 164, we have Pellerin. Definitely was putting up some of the faster times on the practice servers, so definitely going to be someone to watch out for. Good exit there. Coming on to the last turn here. Very important to get a good exit to get some nice straight speed going all the way to turn 1. A little bit wide there, but a V trajectory isn't the worst thing depending on the car. The Aston, probably not one of the more favorite cars on this track, because we're looking for the more, no, I would assume that the more, like I mentioned earlier, Ferrari, very good car on this track, Lamborghini, Porsche, if the tire management is on point, can also be a very fast car on this track. Cars that we don't expect would be too fast, unless of a driver difference or something like that, would be the Aston, the Mustang, possibly the Bentley. Of course, I mean, any car in this league, given with the right driver and the proper amount of practice and time, can still be competitive. But when you're looking for that slight edge on this type of track, definitely the few first cars that I mentioned would have the advantage. We'll see what the first lap for Pellerin will look like. We'll put the benchmark here. Coming into the final turn. Okay, so not a bad first lap. 38.8. Got Lombardo crossing the line, coming here on the T1 here, put in an even better time, only 4/10 off the pole in this first attempt. Very solid stuff. There we go. Got Ghislaine Smith here in the Lambo. Was absent last week, looking to pick up where he left off on the race before that. Has been getting very good results fighting for the D6 championship. It'll be very interesting to see what he'll be able to do in today's race. That if we get a little looks at what we have on our D6 gold grid. So we have John Baum. Olsen that actually set the fastest time in the quality server. He actually was the only only D6 driver to do a sub 37 on the practice server. We'll see if he's able to repeat that pace in the actual qualifying. We have Mark Allen that had an excellent race last week. Dan Meyer that led for a portion of last week's race before he had an unfortunate connection issue. So we'll see if he'll be able to compensate for what happened last week and see if he can get a nice result for himself. Mark DC. I believe we saw We touched on Rob Warren a little bit earlier. We have Cesar Bazzuto that had a pretty good race last week. It kept it pretty clean. Brad Charland, and that's pretty much all of the goal drivers that we have in track at the moment. Let's see here. At the moment, we have Mark Allen here looking at coming up on the final straight, about 4/10 up on his best time. We'll give him a few spots shortly. Put him up to 11th. That's fantastic on his part. We have Steven Preller in here. Up 6/10 on his time, only halfway through his lap. And actually only about 6/10 off the provisional pole at the moment, so that would put him in contention for the pole if he can keep this pace up for the rest of the lap. And just having these cars doing their laps and the qualifying session, we can already see that the track temp has already went up a degree just in the last 10-15 minutes. A little bit of dirt there, but nothing too major. Losing a little bit of time here, about 3/10 up on his best time. Should put him into about a provisionary second at the moment. There we go, only 87 hundredths off. Got Lombardo here, 7/10 up on his best, gives him the provisionary pole, the first driver to do a sub 38 in qualifying. Got Olsen here about 2 seconds up on his best time, which would put him at about be the second driver to put in a sub 38 as he rounds that last corner. This should put him on pole. Yep, a good 6/10 in front of his closest driver, eyeing that sub 37. Very, very fast lap on his end. Mark DC gets a 7th with that last lap of his. We got Rob Warren here in the final few minutes of qualifying. Was only able to do a 1:40.957, which is almost 4 seconds off the provisionary pole. About a 1.5 seconds up on his best lap at the moment. A little bit of dirt there, nothing to worry about. Hopefully we'll be able to climb a few spots here, not have to start too far back in the grid. That's good for 12th at the moment. Got Mark DC here. Looking at about the same pace he was having from his best lap at the moment, which has him in 7th place. Getting a 10th or 2 on those 2 tight turns, going into the 2 fast right-handers to finish off the course. About 4/10 ahead of his best time. That should put him at about 4th. Oh, actually a 10th off Pellerin. And speaking of Pellerin, about halfway through a little bit more than halfway through his lap already, about 4/10 up on his best time. At the moment, it almost seems that Olsen has already pretty much secured the pole, so basically we're all trying to get a faster time than Lombardo or Beckstead. Losing a few tenths during those last few times. Hopefully can just get enough just to get ahead of Beckstead possibly. Needs to keep it together here for these last few turns. Nice, no dirt on that. Maybe you can challenge Lombardo with a good exit here on that. No, that delta is dropping a little bit, so that'll probably secure 3rd on his end. But still a few tenths off Lombardo's best pace. Ghislaine Smith here coming up on the last turn. About 5 tenths up on his best time, but about 2 seconds off the fastest pace. But since we do see that between about 6th and 15th, there is only about 6 tenths between them, so just those few tenths can make a huge difference. There's 6 tenths gaining him 7 positions on the grid. So we have Pellerin, Mark DC, and Rob Warren. Rob Warren is actually on an invalid lap, and he just went into the pit, actually, as I say it. Mark DC botches his last lap, invalid, and Pellerin is about a tenth slower than his fastest one. If he can get some good exits here on the last sector of the track, maybe he can go and fight Lombardo for that second spot on the grid. Good curb usage. Hugging that white line all around that last tight corner. Got about a tenth on that. Let's see what he can do on these last two. Very nice curb usage. A little bit wide there. And that last turn was a little bit wide, which lost him the few tenths that he had gained, and he will stay in 3rd position in this qualifying session. So if we look at our starting grid here, we'll have Olsen, Lombardo on the first line, Pellerin and Beckstead, Mark DC and Mummery, Ghislaine Smith and Dan Mayer, Baum, Charlan, Mantine Colt, Warren Santos, Alan Pizzuto, Beverly Jr. Acosta, Acom Parkinson, Neely and Leatherwood, and Matt Moon on the back of the grid, which he had a qualifying ban, if I'm not mistaken. So while our drivers are getting ready for the race, we will move on for a quick word for our sponsors.
Huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specialising in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
Okay, so we are back here on the formation lap for this race. So if ever any of you are interested in checking out our sponsors, definitely check them out. They make it possible for the actual league to run. So if ever if anything caught your eye, definitely go and encourage them. Okay, so let's get a little helicam going here. So if we go through our grid here while they're doing their warm-up lap, so as I mentioned earlier, so we have on pole position Michael Olsen, Anthony Lombardo carrying the first line of the grid, Stephen Pellerin in third, Daniel Beckstead in fourth, Mark DC in fifth, Corey Mummery, Jocelyn Smith in seventh, Dan Mayer, John Baum, Brad Charlon, Justin Montine, Corey Colton, Justin Montine, Rob Warren, Michael Santos, Mark Allen, Cesar Pizzuto, Gordon Beverly Jr., Thomas Acosta, Brian Acomb, Tim Parkinson, Thomas Neely, Cleveland Leatherwood, and Matt Moon. That had a qualifying ban, like I mentioned earlier, I believe. So it'll be very interesting to see how this first lap goes out. As I mentioned earlier in the track walk, very, very narrow circuit going into the first few turns. And if not to make matters worse, very dangerous curves as well that raise up as soon as they begin. So not always possible to take them as a second resort to try to avoid or make a little sneaky pass. So you have to kind of use what's given to you as asphalt on the actual track to make your moves on the first lap, with a high risk of unsettling the car if you try to use any of those high curves on the first few turns. So we got our drivers going through our first, going through the end of their formation lap here, going through the last bend. Michael Olsen leading the pack. First place does have the inside corner here for T1, but will have the will be on the outside for T3. So hopefully, for pole position, he will be able to get a comfortable lead. And there's the green light. And we are away here at Zandvoort in D6 for SRA. Michael Olsen taking that inside line. A little bit of curb there for second place. A little bit of contact there. That was already out. Oh, and a huge spin there by Pellerin already. Just dropping all the way down. Well, there seems to be a lot of yellow people trying to avoid. We'll see what happened here. We'll go back. Other than that, seems pretty clean. So let's look at a replay there of the first portion of the first lap. This replay can get going. And okay, here we go. Okay, nice avoidance there by the car that actually spun out, but looking good other than that. So let's see. The Olsen being tailed closely by Pellerin here. R208 Pizzuto, a lot of front-end damage there. While we were looking at the replay for turn 1, he probably got into a little scuffle or a crash of his own, sadly. He'll probably limp into the pits right now. Oh, we actually got Lombardo here doing a little pass on Mummery, taking that 9th spot. After that unfortunate turn 1 for a sector spin in on lap 1, trying to Lombardo will have to try and cut back through the field. Big train of cars still going here, just trying to stay safe. Dan Mayer, there's a little pass here on Mark DC, but Mark DC not letting he'd actually lets him go. Might try something, or maybe a few tenths back here. Looking at the inside. Not quite. A clean move on Dan Mayer's end. Wayne Smith here leading a 4-car train here in 6th. Definitely a lot of action going to go on here. Gonna have to keep an eye on that. Corey Colt here leading the train of his own in 13th place with Rob Warren, Mark Allen, and Matt Moon trailing only a few tenths each. Rob Warren trying to use that Bentley power. Try and make a move on Q1 and goes through cleanly. Oh, Cole just gives up 2 positions there. Not ready to battle. He does have damage on his car though, as you can see in the front. Maybe not exactly the grip and the conditions he's looking for. Way outside on Q1. Matt just takes a position. Cole definitely not looking good with that damage. I wonder if he'll elect to just bleed some time and try to pit at a normal window, or if he'll want to repair that damage as soon as possible. Got Olsen here, already making about a 1-second gap for him between him and Pellerin. Pellerin did put him the fastest lap of the race thus far though. Rob Warren here making the moves, already up to P12. Car 469 yellow. Neely. See here if we can get a replay. Little boo-boo there. The Warriors just continues on his way. Mayer here sitting in 4th at the moment. Our leader Michael Olsen nursing his a little bit more than a second gap on Stephen Pellerin. Pellerin though trying to fight off Beckstead here, coming in hot, about only a few tenths back of him. Getting awfully close to his rear though in those turns, so definitely going to be battling for that position. Anthony Lombardo here going up a few positions, all the way up to 7th. Smith and another spin here on Lombardo. Smith keeping his position. Lombardo here with his teammate Brad Charlon going through. Mark Allen here up to 12, got the pass on Mummery. All in all, a pretty good race thus far. As we can see, we got the top 3, Olsen, Pellerin, and Beckstead, starting to pull away from Dan Mayer, and then Dan Mayer himself pulling from Smith, so you already see 3 separate packs starting to form. Oh, we got a little spin out there. Car 787. Montino, and then gets rammed. We'll definitely need to look at that replay though. Just free penetration there. Montine doing what he needed to do was just holding the brakes on the curb, letting people pass. We'll see if maybe he got a little bit too impatient. Okay, just doing his thing, letting people pass, goes for it. Oh, and then does get a little bit impatient and just rams into, yeah, that'll definitely be a boo-boo that'll be worth a few penalty points for sure. Alright, we got car 140, just Lane Smith here. The Lamborghini, a little bit of spin out there, all the way back down to 15th. Doesn't seem to be much damage on the car. Car looks fine, hopefully it was just a spin off. Got Mark DC here making the move on Dan Mayer with that Bentley power. Battle here, got Matt Moon looking at the interior, actually making the pass on Santos. And then Santos getting back to cut over Matt Moon. But Matt Moon, slowly but surely slicing through the field from 23rd to 13th already, after barely 10 minutes done in the race. See how much work he'll be able to put in as the race progresses. As we mentioned earlier, Porsche very, very harsh on the tires. So we'll see how much he is actually pushing at the moment to make up all these places, to see if that will come and be kind of a thorn in his side as the race goes forward. We'll have to look at the condition of those tires as we go forward. So we got Mark, he said, didn't make the move on Dan Mayer, but Mayer is still trailing him only by a few tenths. John Baum sitting in 7th, Anthony Lombardo only a few tenths back after that last spin out, still looking fast, trying to cut through the field. Doesn't seem to be too much damage on his cars. He seems unchanged at the moment. See their bomb sandwich between Charlon and Lombardo, the two Mercedes teammates. Lombardo looking on the inside. Oh, a little bump there, a little tap. Gets the move with a little bit of contact. Maybe Baum, after losing the inside, a little bit aggressive on the turn-in. At that point, that was Lombardo's turn, and he had to take the outside line. We'll see what the stewards have to say about it. Yeah, so another place back to Lombardo. Got Matt Moon actually finally making that move on Santos for 12th spot. And the next on the chopping block would be Corey Mummery, about a second and a half in front of Moon. Sorry, about 2.5 seconds back. With a little bit of clean air, we'll see what this Porsche is able to do to cash another Porsche compatriot. That Mayer really not letting Mark DC any room to breathe. Still only a few tenths back of him. You would have to assume that all this battling and DC having to stress out about Mayer catching him is impacting his chances to potentially catch up to Bexa that's in 3rd position. Another close battle we got going here. We got Acosta that is followed closely by Parkinson, only a few tenths back, and Montine is still in the mix, eyeing down the battle in case any of them slow down a little bit too much trying to battle. We'll be there to pounce on that position. Lombardo actually getting past the teammate, and we have R208. Cesar Pizzuto just not having the race that he would really want. See that his damage was actually already repaired, but yeah, sliding out once again, all on his lonesome. hopefully he can still try to keep the pace. He's already 2 laps down on the leader though. If he can keep it clean and maybe a few other people have incidents, maybe he'll be able to get a few spots, but not looking like the race that he probably was hoping for. Lombardo, after making the move on his teammate Charlon, starting already to pull away already with over a 1 second gap on his teammate. So definitely we'll be looking to eye down Dan Mayer. That's about 8.5 seconds ahead of him. But judging how he recut through the field pretty easily, definitely would look to maybe have the pace, especially that DC and Mayer have been battling for a while now. So if this battle continues, Lombardo will have a window open to go and catch up to that pack. All whilst Pellerin about 2.5 seconds back of Olsen, but now Beckstead within a fighting chance of fighting for that T2. So if Pellerin can't find a little bit of pace to pull away from Beckstead, or at the very least at least keep him there, that gap on first place might look to grow over the course of the next few laps. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Matt Moon, after having passed Santos, Santos still within a few tenths looking for him. Moon reducing that gap a little bit to Mummy that's ahead of him, about 1.5 seconds now behind. Also a little bit surely cutting through that. Still have Parkinson trailing Acosta by less than a second. And we have Rob Warren trailing John Baum by about 3 seconds, but Mark Allen watching him closely. Brad Charlon trying to fight off John Baum here. Baum looking for the inside, slides a little bit, that's a no-go. Mayer and DC meanwhile still at it. Let's go back to our leader here. Olsen, pretty uneventful race, leading pretty much from start to finish thus far. Lombardo did actually make a move on him in the first sector of the race, but a little bit of contact, and Lombardo did wind up spinning out, and since then it's been pretty much smooth sailing for the last 16 minutes or so. Got a train here going with Rob Warren, Mark Allen, and Corey Mummery. All with just about a second of each other. And right in back of this train we have Matt Moon trailing by about 2 seconds. So if these three are of similar pace and start fighting each other for a bit too long, this might open the room for Matt Moon. And we've got Rob Warren there taking a little bit too much of curve, and Mark Allen getting a free position, but Rob Warren hasn't hit his final ward yet. A little bit of overlap. Allen just trickles through. Rob Warren getting the inside of that turn though, and he goes straight into the. Okay. He'll give the position back, but we'll also lose the position to Mummery. So went off track. Didn't have any huge impact. Got a little bit too antsy there. Maybe missed the braking mark, trying to cut off Bomb. Didn't quite work out. At least no damage. Tires might be a little bit dirty for a half a lap, but nothing too major. Matt Moon actually losing his position back to Santos. got a train going, a very tight train here between Acosta, Parkinson, and Acom. Let's see if there's anything that happens here. Acosta going very, very wide in T1. Parkinson decided to back out of this fight, looking a little bit too spicy for him. Acom actually does get the position on Parkinson, and Parkinson was in that 18th position before this all started. We do see Mummery and Warren still pretty close, but Alan already starting to pull away with a little bit of clean air. Maybe looking to catch up to Baum, which is about 3.5 seconds ahead. We have Santos here. We'll try to figure out what happened. Having a little bit of trouble starting the car there. Huge mess up there by Santos, losing quite a few positions. Doesn't seem to be any damage on the car, but that's something at least. Try to get the replay on that. Oh, didn't go back far enough. No worries. Yeah, so Santos maybe have a little trouble. No damage, little spin out. Having trouble starting the car. Gets back right in. It loses a few positions, but at least we'll live to race another day. Most cars are keeping a pretty healthy delta on the people in the back. Closest battle would probably be Acom, Acosta, and Parkinson looking to battle for that 17th. Acom pulled a little bit away from Acosta, as I say, as Acosta is battling Parkinson quite closely in the back there. Parkinson looking for the inside there, not quite. Let's see if we can make a move stick here. Acosta still looking ahead, going quite wide. Parkinson looking for the inside. Not quite able to make it stick. Lane Smith's losing a few spots there. After having a really solid qualifying session, all the way down to 16th now. Parkinson and Acosta side by side on the straight. Getting the inside. Ooh, a lot of contact there. Acosta just taking out Parkinson. Recuperates nicely, but still. Have to take a look at that. A lot of damage on that that front hood moving. A lot of damage there for Parkinson. Acosta seems to have gotten the better of the trade. Got a battle here between Leatherwood and Santos. About half a second back here of Leatherwood. Gonna fight for that 14th spot. Beverly Jr. here spinning out a little bit. Quick 180 back into the race. Look for damage. A little bit, seems a little bit damaged there on the front hood. Nothing too major, hopefully, for him. And Evan Jackson was our leader. Now starting slowly but surely to nurse pretty healthy gap to second. Now almost about 6 seconds up at the moment. Was able to fastest lap of the race is a 138.2 at the moment. Pretty fast considering we're not even halfway through, and the tires are starting to get cooked at the moment. Mentioned very hot temperatures, still looking at 47 degrees Celsius on the track. We got a huge little scuffle here. Parkinson and Acosta once again. Let's try and see what happened exactly. Let that replay load up. Okay, let's see what happened. So we're going into T1 here. Costa goes a little bit wide. Parkinson takes the interior. Oof. Quite unfortunate. Oh, and then he just... Oh, then he runs into him. That's quite interesting, to say the least. We have been at each other's throats pretty much all race. That's their second little scuffle here. So we got Matt Moon taking the draft on Corey Colt, looking for the inside. Corey Colt decides to brake and let Matt Moon pass, not looking to risk it. Overall, pretty clean pass. Matt Moon's car does look in a better state, so possibly less damage. Colt trying to nurse that car as much as he can. Will be interesting to see if he does decide to repair the damage in the pit lane or not. Mark DC actually here putting a move on Beckstead to get into that top 3. Oh, very nicely done on his end. A pretty large train here going on from 12th to 15th, all within less than a second of each other. If there's any action to be had in the next few seconds or minutes, definitely where we're going to be able to see it. Still very admirable that Colt is able to stay keep pace in mid-pack with all that front-end damage that he has. Elsewhere, we have Allen going through. John Baum actually coming in first. The first voluntary pit, followed by Mummery right before. We have Parkinson and Acosta that are in pits, but that was probably due to their scuffle earlier. Yep, so the first voluntary pits, Baum and Mummery. We'll see how long before any of the next front runners follow suit. Michael Olsen, no real reason to pit. I would say that with his pace and the clean air that he has, definitely try to run his tires as far as he can. Dan Mayer here making a move on Beckstead. Beckstead loses in a few positions. Not sure if it's caused by maybe tires are a bit done, or doesn't seem to have any damage and didn't lose enough time to actually have a major incident. Now we have Lombardo eyeing him for another position. Got John Baum coming out of the pits here. Mummery as well. Playing Smith in the pits as well. Ellerin actually coming in for his pit stop from second place. So the first of the front runners actually coming. Marcus goes straight. Dan Mayer coming in for his pit as well, another front runner. Yep, so pretty much everyone as expected around that 30-minute mark coming in for their fresh set of tires. So all eyes will be on Olsen to see if he can keep the car on the track despite him having the most used tires pretty much from all the front runners at the moment. See if he can keep a decent pace to not get not undercutting himself by pitting a little bit later. But we have to also consider that the people that are pitting right now will have a lap to get a lap or two to get the tires up to temp. So if Michael Olsen can just just gun it and get a few like really fast laps with what's left of the tires, then pits, he should be comfortably ahead if everything goes as planned with his pit stop. But in the meantime, we see actually the two teammates following each other. So Michael Olsen and John Baum, the orange and outer blue Tim Hortons cars. And Michael Olsen actually decided to come and pit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. In the meantime, we still have Lombardo eyeing Beckstead for that provisionary third spot until all these pit stops get sorted out. And as we say it, Beckstead coming in for the pit, decided not to battle Lombardo for too long. Well, Lombardo goes to a provisionary second place in the meantime. Leaderboard isn't updated, but Mark DC is in first at the moment since Olsen decided to pit. We have Rob Warren here. Matt Moon trailed by Weatherwood, and we have Weatherwood actually decided to come and pit, not participating in that train for too long. I actually do see that Olsen is pitted in about 8th position now after his pit. Not too shabby, considering he's by far the person with that pitted. You see, he's surrounded by those orange markers, noting that people that the other drivers haven't elected to pit yet. Got Beckstead coming out of pits here. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of clean air. Or a few. Yeah, we have Pizzuto maybe a second or two in front of him, but nothing major. So level up with a little bit of clean air. Pizzuto has already pitted, but pitted early due to damage, if I recall. So it'll be interesting to see if he decides to repit for a fresh set of tires. And we got our provisional leader, Mark DC, pitting himself. And right behind him, we have Anthony Lombardo coming into pit. So the next person in line would be Brad Charlon. Oh. Bradshaw. Oh, that's quite unfortunate. I mean, he kind of knows that he stopped there for a second and knows that he's going to get it. That stop and go is already coming. Decided last minute to just jump into the pits. Quite unfortunate by him. Come back with Matt Moon here. Still hasn't pitted. Nothing close to a miracle driving the Porsche, having not pit within the first 30 minutes. We'll see how long this can go on. Okay, so we got a Kata here rolling in 18th. From the looks of it, elected to repair the damage. I don't see any major damage on the front end of his car, so elected to probably repair all of it. Looking at our provisional leader in the meantime, and there's the stop and go on R556. As we had expected, just darting into the pit lane last minute. Clearly going, clearly speeding over that line. We know it, he knew it as well. We're all expecting that stop and go, which will kind of put the nail in the coffin on his chances at trying to fight for a top 10, 13th with a stop and go 30. We got Michael Santos here in visionary fifth before he does decide to pit. Surely even trying to be careful with the tires. They're surely starting to starting to sense it. Pellerin here, trying to outbrake him with his fresh set of tires. Easy enough, goes into a provisionary fourth, which would still put him in back of Olsen. But the gap's a little bit smaller than when they pit. Got Mark DC here. Okay, and we got our question answered. So Matt Moon and ACOM in the pits. So it'll be interesting to see where Matt Moon comes out of the pits after this is all said and done. And we got Barla Charlan here coming into his debt of his stop and go 30 first pit infraction that we caught earlier. Following Corey Mummery here, sitting about middle of the pack in 11th position. So not much has changed standings-wise once we get all these pits sorted out. So we got Olsen leading. People have already pit, followed by Pellerin and DC. And as we said, Warren is pitting, so Olsen gets his officially his second place back. And once the last few people pit, few people, the only person left to have pit in the whole race is Mark Allen. About 13 seconds ahead of Olsen. No way he'll be able to hold on to that by any means, but it'll be interesting to see how much a gap he would have been able to create of himself by trying to last these tires as long as possible. Looking at about 35 minutes done in the race at the moment, still with his original set of tires. Last lap was a 141, which is quite slow compared to the leaders of the race. So that's probably a sign that your tires are getting a little bit too used and losing grip and not being able to put any decent pace down. So other than where Allen will wind up, if we go back through the... Yep, and there it is. So he will look to pit. Oh, a little bit of slide there. Takes out the sign there. Yep, it's still under there. Taking a little souvenir all the way to his pit line. It doesn't matter that much because everyone has pitted, so it's the last to pit. So if we go through basically what the standings will be, except for Allen. So we have Olsen leading, followed by Pellerin. We have Mark DC, Dan Mayer, Lombardo, Beckstead, Baum, Mummery, Warren, Moon, Leatherwood, Santos, Acom, Smith, Bull, Charlon, Beverly Jr., Parkinson, Acosta, Muntean, and Pizzuto rounding off the grid. So not much has changed since after the pits. Wasn't too much. Most people probably had some very, very clean pit stops. Pretty much where we started as well with the battle for first place. We have Olsen about 5.5 seconds ahead. So still keeping a healthy gap. Now we have Mark Allen exiting the pits. He actually a clean fifth here. With fifth? No, eighth. My mistake. Yep. So running in eighth at the moment. Not a bad spot considering that now he'll have by far the most fresh set of tires to end this race. So if he needs to push a little bit, definitely will be able to. He has Baum and Beckstead about 6 seconds ahead. That's definitely catchable with his fresh set of tires. Closest battle on the circuit right now after the after everyone has pitted is Lombardo being trailed by Beckstead by a little bit less than a second. Beckstead can find the pace to catch up to Lombardo. A little bit of dirt there on Beckstead's end. Yep, now about a little bit over a second now after eating that dirt. Other than that, pretty healthy deltas all around the board. Lombardo and Beckstead is by far the closest battle we have. Maybe keep an eye on Matt Moon and Leatherwood trailing back about a second and a half. If anyone slips up, that could be a potential battle. Mark Allen leading Mummery by about a little bit less than 3 seconds, so that could also be one small slip up on Allen's end, and Mummery could have the window to catch up and start battling for that position. But other than that, grid is pretty much stabilized after the pits. See decent gaps. It almost looks like everyone is qualifying, judging by how almost artificial these gaps look if you look at the track map. Olsen actually picking up the pace a little bit here. As mentioned earlier, best lap hasn't changed much. Actually, he did better his best lap. Did a 37.8 as best, and the last one was a 38.2, so only 4/10ths off his best lap. And his last lap is actually would have been one of the fastest laps of the race if we wouldn't count his own. So definitely keeping an elite pace here compared to the rest of his D6 challengers. Right now, it's basically just to survive these last 20 minutes and bring it home with this healthy 6-second gap ahead of Pellerin. Judging by their similar pace, highly unlikely unless one of them makes a mistake that this will change much. Mark DC just sitting comfortably about 15 seconds behind Pellerin to secure that podium, and about 8 seconds ahead of Dan Mayer. Then we got Lombardo 8 seconds. Yeah, so this top 5 is looking, everyone has over a 5-second gap on the car in front. So unless any shenanigans happen with back markers or anything like that, there shouldn't be any movement. Shouldn't be much movement here, except if there's a mistake on anyone's part. Beckstead still eyeing Lombardo, still maintaining that approximate 1-second gap. Oh yeah, sorry, Zip Senior. I didn't see your message. I wasn't looking at chat much, but yeah, maybe I was a little bit far from my mic. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, so Lombardo here going through this back marker without too much of an issue. Hopefully Beckstead, yep, very respectful, just letting them through without giving them much issue. Probably noticing that they were quite close and battling, so they don't want to impede too much on either car's pace to be able to let them continue their battle. And as we mentioned earlier, Leatherwood actually closing up here on Matt Moon for that 11th spot. Now less than a second here going down the pit straight to turn 1. Matt Moon did start at the back of the grid all the way back to 11th place, so definitely a very good drive by him, very clean from what we've seen so far here. But definitely the biggest loser of the day, sadly, is Brad Charlon, down 10 spots from where he qualified. Quite unfortunate. Had that stop and go. I'm not sure if he had not planned pitting and decided at the last second, but kind of just ducked into the pits last minute and got a stop and go. Was sitting top 10 for a good portion of the race. Did quali 7th, so had the pace for that top 10 finish, but yeah, just a small error there cost him. Beckstead down about 3 positions from where he qualified, was actually on qualifying podium, but down to 6 now. But been eyeing Lombardo for a while, so we'll see if ever he'll be able to make the move. If he can get through this blue flag without incident. Blue flag probably waiting for a good spot to let him pass. Oh, a little bit wide there on Becksted's side, getting a little bit antsy. Blue flag does break and let him pass, which is good, but have to be patient here. Not a lot of places to pass here at Zandvoort, and depending on how far back that back marker was, he might have his own battle at the moment. That's Gordon Beverly Jr. And Parkinson is only a second back of him, so he didn't want to give up too much time letting the blue flag marker go through. Always something to be very conscientious of is to not, even if the blue flag is there, have to be patient for them to choose when they decide to let you pass. They do have the full lap as per SRA rules to let you pass. Beckstead is now about 3 seconds behind Lombardo after that little blue flag kerfuffle. Other than that, deltas are looking pretty healthy. We still got Leatherwood eyeing Matt Moon down for that 11th spot. Now less than a half a second back of him. Have to keep an eye on that. See what goes on with them. The two Porsches battling it out. These two gentlemen had a great fight for the D6 Silver Championship last season, which was ultimately won by Matt Moon. That got promoted to D6 Gold division this season. We got Lombardo all catched up to Dan Mayer here within a few tenths of a second. Lombardo playing a few mind games here, looking to stress out Dan Mayer to see if he'll be able to get a good pass on this tight chicane coming forward. Hard braking zone. Lombardo really giving him no room to breathe. Looking for the inside here. Slid a little bit, cost him the acceleration. If you can get a run on him, if he gets a better exit on this final turn. Both of them using all of the track. Excellent lines on both ends. See if Lombardo has the straight speed to get over this Porsche. Be a very tricky turn one. Lombardo gets the inside. Late braking, goes outside. Mayer. Lombardo very clean, just barely gets the move on him, but got the inside on that. Very good stuff. So Lombardo up to 4th now, with about 13 minutes left in the race. Is about 16 seconds behind on Mark DC. A few seconds ago, we do got ACOM that was able to get that 3rd position. I think Santos had a little bit of an issue there because he's already 7 seconds back on him. And now with all that battling with Lombardo and Mayer, Beckstead is back into the mix here. Depending on how much Mayer and Lombardo will continue to fight for this 4th spot, Beckstead might find an opportunity to sneakily maybe make a move on both of them, or Mayer himself if he's not too careful. Falling a little bit back there, probably missed the turn. Leatherwood still eyeing down Matt Moon for that 11th spot. As much as change, still about a little bit over a half a second back. Just Lane Smith in 15th. Corey Colt about a second back here of Smith. See if there's any chance in these last 11, 10, 12 minutes of the race for Colt to go close that delta and get a shot at passing Smith. Back of exit here. Only a few tenths down on Mayer, still looking for that spot. Good exit there. Mayer sliding. We do see those rear tires of the Porsche of Mayer are starting to slide with still a little over 10 minutes to go. Colt about less than a second down now on Smith. See if he can get anything done before the end of this race. We got our leader, Michael Olsen. No real reason to push. A little over 10 minutes left. A healthy 9+ second gap on second place. At the moment now, it's really just get around the blue flags safely. Don't push too much and risk anything sliding out, and just bring it home at that point. Beckstead a few tenths back of Mayer once again, eyeing him down in Q1. Oh, a little slide there by Mayer. We can really see these. The tires are giving up on the Porsche. Look at this high-speed right-hander. See if it's anything possible. We can accelerate down the hill. I look on the inside here for a little bit more time gain, using a good portion of the curve. Oh, there goes Dan Mayer's car. Oh. Mayer here spinning. Hopefully he'll be able to. Luckily that was a pretty slow speed corner and only back markers now. Oh, and Mayer losing it again. Definitely has to take it easy a little bit after going into the gravel. But yeah, but 5th place for Beckstead there. Mayer's definitely going to have to nurse those tires for the last few minutes. He doesn't want to lose any more, because then we have John Baum about 2 seconds back of Mayer, and that might be able to, I might smell blood in the water and see him sliding all over, and might be able to make a small push for it. We have Colt here, still within striking distance of Smith. But it is a back marker here and lets Stefan Pellerin pass here. Playing Smith and next of the blue flags to have to let Pellerin pass as soon as he does catch up on him. Got Matt Moon, who lost a few places here. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. No, I'm not sure exactly what on. He's still 11th. Interesting. Okay, even 11th is coming in here on back markers. Going through. Matt Moon about 6 seconds behind 10th place Warren here. Oh, we got John Baum here. That does make the, maybe another little sliding issue with the tires. Dan Mayer here really having trouble finishing this race with the tires. Has a little bit of damage on his front hood as well. Maybe ran into a wall when he slid earlier. Didn't notice that. So with the combination of the tires getting completely cooked by spinning on the accidents with the damage, R definitely is going to be hard to drive. If he does have that TC button on his wheel, or if he can go into the menu and pump that up a little bit to finish the race, that could definitely save him a little bit of trouble here going on the gravel on the last turn. Definitely the reference points of everything he's been doing so far are kind of down the toilet, and he has to kind of relearn quickly to how to handle his car in the last 6 minutes. That we have Smith about 1.5 seconds down on Santos. Let's see if he'll be able to catch up. Before the end of this race. Accelerating uphill and then going to these two fast right-handers to finish off the circuit. Slowly but surely catching up to Santos, now less than a second here. Oh, and having to have Mark Allen here going past Van Mayer. So another potential slip up on Mayer's end. Quite unfortunate, you hate to see it. Going into T3 here. Decent exit. Accelerate, not fall too back far of Santos. Oh, Matt Moon was able to hang on to his 11th spot, now Leatherwood about 13 seconds back. Delta dropping, letting people through. He has to watch out with how generous he is on those blue flags, because ACOM is only a few tenths back here. This is what we were talking about earlier, is that you have to let the blue flags pass, but not to the expense of you losing positions to who you're actually battling with. Love to see if Leatherwood here can fend off ACOM with that Bentley power. The Bentley power on the straight. Looking really, really close. ACOM has the interior for, the inside for T1. Oh, a little bit of contact. Oh, huge penetration there. ACOM just, yeah, running into Leatherwood there. Or maybe it was the other way around. The angle to determine. Oh, we have Smith that actually fell back down to 16th. Brad Chalon looking to capitalize on that. Here at the back of the grid, we have actually Kyle. We have a Montine. Haven't seen too much of today in 21st. About 0.5 second down on Acosta. Might look for a pass. Santos got the pass on Leatherwood. And we actually have Dan Mayer here fighting his Porsche brethren, Corey Mummery. See how well he can actually nurse these last few minutes with the damage and the tires that are probably close to gone at the moment. Have to keep an eye on that. A lot of last minute battles here that have developed on the track. Santos trying to fend off Leatherwood after making the pass on it. And we have Charlon chasing Smith as well. wide there. Yep, you can see that most of these drivers at the end here of their second stint, tires completely cooked. Very hard to have any reference points. Charlon about a second and a half back after that boo-boo. Mummery here. Trying to see if they can, if he can get past Dan Mayer with all of his damage and the tires. Mummery cleanly going into the inside. Dan Mayer. Oh no. Dan Mayer tried to fight it a little bit too much. And uses another spot, and this might just be a free, just might be free food for Warren on the next few ones. And we do have the white flag here, final lap for the leader here. Keep an eye to see if Warren is able to make this pass on the last lap, but other than that, Olsen a full 11.5 seconds ahead of Pellerin. We'll tune back in when he'll be closer to the finish line. Mayer desperately trying to fend off Warren here on the last lap. Warren here just has more grip with his tires, just goes straight through. And now we have Matt Moon here looking for that 10th position from Mayer. Teammates, will they make a truce? Will Mayer just let Matt through? Because with all the damage as he had, he just knows that he's probably going to be faster. Or will they take each other out? We shall see. Okay, but all eyes are on Michael Olsen for a very clean race. Led pretty much from the start all the way to the end here. Going on the last couple of turns here, all the way to the finish line. Comfortably ahead of second place by about 11 seconds, so no need to risk anything. Just survive these last few corners, and here we go. So with the checkered flag, Michael Olsen finishing the race, and Matt Moon actually going ahead of his teammate Dan Mayer. I'm not sure if that was discussed beforehand or not, but Steven Pellerin here coming in, finishing his race. And we have the few back markers as well starting to end their races as well. Santos, ACOM, Leatherwood all done with their own races. DC just crossing the finish line in third to complete the podium. Doing some donuts here for that third place, very well deserved. We got Lombardo and Beckstead going over the finish line. Very good race on Lombardo's part as well. Having a few incidents during the race, but not giving up and getting that fourth position for himself. We got Baum coming over the line here. Olsen's teammate in the blue and orange Tim Hortons car. Mark Allen, Corey Mummery, next across the finish line. They're coming in 8th. Oh, and actually, Dan Mayer passing, giving the spot back. Matt Moon giving the spot back to his teammate. You love to see it. Very nice work. And Matt Moon is the last person to come over the grid. Yeah, so if we go over the results really quickly, we have our podium, Olsen, Pellerin, and DC, followed by Lombardo, Beckstead, Baum in 6th, Allen, Mummery, Warren, Mayer for the top 10, then Moon in 11th, ACOM in 12th, Santos, Leatherwood, Colt, Smith, Charland in 16th, Beverly Jr., Parkinson in... Oh, and everyone's already quit. So Parkinson in 19th and Muntean in 20th. Hey, thanks Zodi. Thanks for the comment. We do what we can. It's harder than it looks doing it all on your own, but we do what we can to give these drivers a proper stream so they can also be broadcasted. So yeah, so we'll give everyone a minute to jump into the Discord servers, and we'll try to get an interview with our top 3 here.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Season 11. We're here.
One I wanted. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, so we'll try to get our top 3 in here to be able to get an interview going. Olsen, Pellerin, and DC ideally. If one of them isn't available, then we might go down to either Lombardo or Beckstead. So let's go see if we can kidnap anyone. Other than that, seems like a pretty clean race. A few incidents here and there. Lap 1 was actually really clean. A little little issue, little bump between P1 and P2 on that first turn. Lombardo actually was able to, spin, not get hit by anyone, and continue his race, and at the end of the day finish 4th, which wasn't bad at all. Didn't see any glaring contact or any huge problem with T1, so that's admins are going to be very happy with that. Great, so let's see if Olsen is in the chat here. Oh, great, so there he is. So let's do some kidnapping here. Okay, and Olsen. Okay, there we go. Hello, Mr. Olsen. You have been kidnapped to the commentator's booth.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, well, you had a very clean race, very convincing win. Were you expecting that type of result today going into Zandvoort?
So yeah, my practices on it have been pretty good. I knew that I wasn't going to be around last weekend or last week for the race, so I had started on Zandvoort a little bit early, but I hadn't really been messing with higher temperatures, so that was definitely an adjustment. Yeah, clean race overall, but I had that tap early on lap 1, so we'll see what comes out of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely noticed that. There was that little tap between you and Lombardo, I believe, going into those first turns, not giving up an inch, not wanting to give up that, the clean air that the pole position provides. Other than that, you were mentioning the temperatures. How much did that influence your strategy to the race or your pace? How did that go for you?
Well, as it got to like mid race, like when I went in for the pit, I delayed going in 1 extra lap because I had clean air. But I just felt like the tires were toast. Like all of a sudden, like they just went off of a cliff all of a sudden. So certainly an adjustment there in the middle of the race. I tried to push an extra lap or 2, but in the end, it was like, no, I just got to go in now and get fresh tires.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, with these conditions, the 30-minute stint, the last few laps, I mean, you do feel that you try to push as much as you can, but you don't want to compromise yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, any final thoughts? Anyone you want to shout out that you would like to make?
Yeah, sure. A couple of shout outs just to my guys that are in our online gaming community, Vanquish. I got a couple of drivers in D3, both Quentin Shatner and Zodi Fade, that helped me out with driving because I just started a few months ago. And then, of course, my teammate as well, John Bayham, all racing together as we're trying to learn. Bayham and I here in D6, just starting out, but lean on those other guys for some knowledge. So really appreciate their help.
Right. Well, we're glad to see the camaraderie. So I'll send you back to the review in the channel. So yeah. So congrats on your win. Was that your first win?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, great. Well, congrats, well deserved, and hopefully you'll have a great result next week as well.
Thanks.
Okay, so that was our winner. So let's see here if we can find our second place finisher. Not, we'll just go to third. So we have our Yep, there he is, Steven Pellerin. Perfect. Hello, Mr. Pellerin. You've been kidnapped to the commentators booth.
Okay.
Oh, so yeah, so congrats on that finish. A very good result for you. Were you expecting this type of result this week?
Yeah, I kind of knew I was one of the faster ones at the track, and I knew Olsen was faster than I was, but in the championship, he's way behind me. So I said, I'm not going to try to pass him. I'm just going to try to stay behind him, and hopefully he'll, make a mistake, and I'll be there to go by him if he does. If not, second place is good. So no, it was good race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very strategic on your part because a good bunch of you were actually absent from last week's race. I'm not sure if it was because of everything that was going on, weather-wise with the hurricane, or if it was just the choice not to wet not to drive in the wet, or maybe a little bit of both. But definitely, I mean, on your end, you're still, still within fighting range of, the D6 championship. May was leading the standings, was not here this week as well.
Yeah.
And
I realized that when the race was starting, I said, "Whoa, the leader's not here this week."
Exactly.
So,
and you finished, and then Warren didn't have the best. You finished ahead of Warren, ahead of Smith as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the standings after this. And with the prep that you did for this week, was that sufficient to compensate for the weather and the conditions that were on the track today?
Yeah, I was finding that my tires didn't get real greasy and slidey, even if I went for like a half-hour stint. I was still able to, kind of control the car and everything like that. It wasn't sliding too much. Obviously, my lap times were slowing down a little bit, probably about almost a second a lap from when they're fresh. But I was finding the car was still controllable, so just kind of drive within it, and I didn't seem to have too much of a problem until second last lap there. Had a little loss of concentration. I think I looked off the screen or something like that, and looking at the leaderboard or something, and I missed a braking marker, but no harm.
Yeah, I mean, it looked quite well managed on your end. I can't say the same for all of the drivers. A lot of the drivers were looking to have a lot of issues at the end of the race. It didn't seem to be your case. You stayed pretty consistent from what I saw on my end. So good on you. Congrats for your second place. Was there anything that you would like to add, or any shout outs you would like to make?
Well, I would again, congrats to Olsen. He good solid race. Nothing I can do with him. So congrats to him. And that's about it.
Okay, well, great. Well, thanks for your time. I'll send you back to your race review.
All right, thanks.
Okay, and let's see here. So, is Lombardo? I'd like to speak with Lombardo here. He is deafened though, so he's not going to see me dragging him. Yeah, so we'll just go with Mark DC, our third spot on the podium here. Move him into the commentator's booth. Hello, Mr. Mark DC. You've been kidnapped to the commentator's booth.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so so congrats on your awesome finish.
Thank you.
When you loaded up into this race this evening, was this expected? Was this more or less where you expected to finish?
Definitely not. No, I was not expecting any podiums at all this year. So yeah, it was a pleasant surprise.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, that's surprising to hear, considering that you've been fairly consistent from what I've seen this season. Barely missing out on a few podiums, but just barely. So I think this was your week. It was time to get on that podium finally.
Yeah. It seemed like last week I kind of had a chance, but I got a pit limit, speeding in the pit lanes penalty, and that definitely killed any chance. But yeah, it's I remember doing this this circuit a few seasons back in the Lambo, and it was a lot more fun. I mean, the Lambo was awful. It was just so hard to drive in, and the Bentley this season has been just such a stable car that yeah, it was really pleasant. Yeah, but still totally surprised.
Oh, well, I mean, good on you then. On your side, you were mentioning that you are driving the Bentley. How
Yeah.
was the conditions and the tires during the race?
My left tires were at 107, 106. So they were hot, but yeah, overall it seemed okay. It seemed like at the beginning everybody seemed to be much quicker than me on the colder tires, and then maybe 15 minutes into like each stint, it seemed like my car kind of kept going, and it seemed like other people kind of slowed down. Like I just saw the relatives where, people would slow down and lose a second or so, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, the top three of the podium, there was no surprise on why you ended up that way as well, because all three of you were pretty much like a rock all race, didn't see any major hiccups, and you were keeping the pace pretty steady. Can't say the same for all of the drivers. Definitely,
Yeah.
some of them were having some slip-ups there at the end, either because their tires were totally cooked, or maybe a little bit of damage, or a little bit of both. Yeah, so yes.
It was definitely a lot of luck. The one thing that I'm definitely not the quickest guy, but I definitely try to focus on consistency, and I think I got lucky that a few of the guys ahead of me, I don't know what happened to them throughout the course, but Lombardo definitely had some good pace on me, and unfortunately he lost it in that first lap, and I kept seeing him in the times behind me. But I know there was a couple other guys that were in front, but yeah, I guess I just kind of got lucky. So
Yeah, well, I
I'll
mean,
take it.
yeah, I mean, luck does have a certain, say in it sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes we're on the good end, sometimes we're on the bad end. Regardless, congrats. Is that your first podium?
It is it's for the last 3 seasons, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, congrats on your first podium. Was there anything else that you wanted to add, or maybe do any shout outs before I send you back to the race review?
No, I just maybe thank my teammate Brian Acom. He's the one that kind of got me into this, and he's always been super supportive. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, well, great. Well, thanks for stopping by, and I'll send you back to your race review.
Cool, thank you. Bye.
Okay, so that rounds up our 3 podium finishers for this, to say the least, toasty Zandvoort race. Definitely, for the most part, like I mentioned earlier, fairly clean. We did definitely see the temps and the temperature having a huge toll on tires, and notably, as we were following one of the Porsches that was sliding quite a bit at the end there, kind of what you would expect. Not sure exactly what their pit window was. Maybe it was a little bit longer on those tires than some of the drivers, but just a few minutes more can definitely have a huge impact. But that being said, pretty clean race here in D6. Looking forward to seeing all of you next week for our week 7 race that will be at Brands Hatch. And yep, so I'll be seeing you all soon. Have yourselves a great evening, and I'll see you next time.